Right, so what is open source pharma? It's not this, and it's not that. Let me tell you about how I discovered open source pharma. So I'm a research scientist, as you can see from the lab coat. For the last 12 years at the ANU and the Canberra Hospital, I've been researching the anti-cancer properties of a drug called dichloroacetate, or DCA. Now, cancer is a large, complex set of diseases, and we're getting very clever at analysing the defects in cancer cells and then selecting designer molecules to target those particular defects. But every cancer is different. And while a personalised medicine approach is a great idea, and the science is really fun too, can we really afford this? It costs lots of money, and I think not. We also need broad spectrum, low toxicity treatment strategies. Now, a little bit of science. Cancer cells have an unusual hunger for glucose. And this hunger for glucose is one of 10 different fundamental changes that occurs across many cancer types. A hallmark that was first described almost 100 years ago by Otto Warburg, and which is exploited in diagnostic imaging today. DCA is a really simple drug that can hinder this hallmark. It's previously been used for treating rare metabolic diseases, which told us that it was safe. And there's a lot of promising preclinical or laboratory work of its actions against many different cancer types. Can we repurpose DCA as a cancer drug? Repurposing is an approach which fast forwards and reduces the cost of the drug development pipeline by almost a 10-fold factor by building on previous clinical experience in a different disease. So DCA is at this stage, and 4 early phase trials have been completed, including one here in Canberra that I've been running, confirming that DCA is usable in cancer patients. The next stage for DCA is to conduct larger phase 2 and phase 3 trials to demonstrate that it actually provides significant benefits in patients. And this, of course, requires money. So there is the problem. For DCA and also many other repurposed drugs, that as an old repurposed drug, DCA comes with no patents or intellectual property protection, which leads to a lack of investment interest for these clinical trials. No one will make money out of it, they say, so they won't back it. That is the dogma, that the primary aim of investing in drug development is earning profits. But this whole approach is failing us, with the number of drugs produced per $1 billion invested in R&D for drugs is decreasing exponentially. So each drug costs almost $3 billion to get it to market. And then illnesses representing 90% of global disease burden are being neglected. We can't afford the medicines. Profit is put before benefit. We need a different approach for getting this to this. Or my 12 years of DCA research would never have the impact I was hoping for. So that's when I discovered open source pharma. Open source pharma is an international movement with the ambitious vision of medicine for all. It aims to develop an alternative, comprehensive open source pharmaceutical system driven by principles of openness, patient need and affordability. It wants to take the open source principles that have been so successful in the field of software development and apply them to all stages of the development of medicines, from discovery through to market. Consider it Linux for drugs. It will be crowdsourced, IT-enabled. It will include shared ownership and be affordable and sustainable. But above all, it will prioritise benefit before profit. Promising as it sounds, the problem is that OSP is largely untested for taking drugs to patients. It is lacking a precedent of how this later stage of drug development can be financed. So my ambitious idea is to use DCA to set the precedent. So nowadays, when I take off my lab coat, I'm wearing a business coat. And so together with Alice Motion at the University of Sydney, I'm setting up OSP Australia, a non-profit organisation which will endeavour to promote the OSP philosophy, facilitate OSP drug development projects, and research business models that can operate under OSP principles in the Australian and global contexts. Open Source Pharma Australia, an ambitious, open-minded idea for development of affordable medicines for all.